True story, we used to actually send out individually wrapped pickles to new customers. The problem is we started in Phoenix, and when you send them in Phoenix in the summer, they will explode in a mailbox. So that's our funny, we had to stop doing that. Yeah, thanks everybody. I want to frame this as this idea of create every day. That's something that we started doing a couple years ago. Company-wide, just have this idea of like create something, create an opportunity, a conversation, create a memory. Creativity in our context means artistic creativity, design creativity, but we're trying to extrapolate that across a lot of different areas. And so today, where I come in here is sort of in between what Kevin and Jackie have spoken about, of like really practical things to, like in creating a candidate experience, but I'm gonna really dial down and I'm gonna zoom into what we do, what works for us, because that's obviously the context that I know. But these things are available and easy to implement into any sort of recruiting situation, whether you're in industrial, manufacturing, tech, and things like that. So we also used to send out pickle suits to every new hire, so that's me. What that photo doesn't show you is that's the middle of winter in Arizona and that water is 50 degrees. My name's Cailean Bailey, and if you want to find me on LinkedIn, I'm the only Cailean Bailey in the world. And I was hired at Design Pickle as the first ever dedicated talent leader. And what that actually means is like we didn't have anything. No ATS, minimal processes, CEO was involved in everything. And it was truly an opportunity to build out a function, which is pretty unique in my opinion. So it was the middle of COVID, we were growing. Today I lead a team of 3. We hire about 125 people annually, currently 12 countries. We can hire in up to 15, but it depends on where our clients are to deliver that. The top places to work, you guys know what those are. My background, I'm not cut from the corporate cloth at all. I was a college soccer coach for 7 years. Quickly learned I wasn't good enough to be a pro, so I became a coach, and that turned into 7 years across 3 different universities. And then, as I say, I fell upwards into corporate recruiting, which I now know is just changing the field from a field to an office. You're still trying to find the right place and the right person in the right seat. But I've sat out there before, and I've seen speakers, and I look at them and think they've got their shit together. They must have perfect everything. That's not me. I'm gonna level set here because my company has done reductions. We've eliminated departments, and some of the worst professional days of my life happen as a talent acquisition leader. And like that's real, and everybody probably knows somebody or has been through that themselves. Our Glassdoor reviews aren't perfect, so I'm not up here telling you that everything I'm doing is right. A candidate torched me in an email to the CEO. Torch is actually a light word. He tried to drop a nuke on me, and he had no grounds. He was just pissed he didn't get the job. And that stuff happens. I mean, maybe you don't have to raise your hand, but that does happen. I do struggle with imposter syndrome most days. We have hiring leaders and department managers from Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon. I still feel like I have a lot to learn and earn their respect. And if anything ever is going to summarize life as a recruiter, my freshman year of college, I scored a goal, and then I received a red card for excessive celebration within a span of 15 seconds. 2 things. That was the only game my mom missed in my entire 72-game career. It was also 1 minute into the game. So if anything tells you the highs and lows of what we do, that's it. And also that photo, what the lighting doesn't show you is that card looks yellow. That's actually red. So that's me getting a red card. So I am ultra competitive, but I also think that can unlock some superpowers in some ways. So what is Design Pickle? I've gotten that question a lot. If you're in a pickle and you need design, you go to Design Pickle. A little bit about us. We are an all-in-one creative platform with a built-in design workforce. So we subscriptionized design services. We were one of the first companies to ever do that. Then we became a SaaS company, which also means that we have to deliver a service and a tech. So we have both of those going all at once. We deliver about 7,000 to 9,000 design assets per week in the high season, Q4. Sometimes it's upwards of 10,000 design assets per week. We're over 500 creatives, and we serve about 4,000 customers ranging from small business all the way to enterprise. And we are fixed pricing, subscription model. A little bit about our how and our why. I will also say most of the images in here are real people. I think that's really important, actually, when representing your brand. There's one that's very clearly not our people, which I'll show you. But our purpose is to change lives through creativity. When people read that, they think we're going to try to change our customers' lives through creativity, and I guess we are, but that started as change lives for our own creative team. We're providing 40 hours a week, full-time positions to creative professionals that have historically been in freelance, or they're their own boss. You know, when you're a freelancer, you're also a sales rep, you're also the accountant, you know, you're also customer success. So we really lean into that. And our mission is to be the most helpful creative company, and our passion is to build the most helpful creative platform. And I want to give some context about us. I've seen other presentations that are like, we hired 50,000 people or something like that, or and I thought my numbers were really big, but we do get about 40,000 applicants a year, and that is on 2 different tracks. Okay, so Design Pickle is, we hire corporate, so traditional hiring and operating business units of the company, but most of our hiring, 95+%, is on the creative side. And I always joke, it's like blue hair, tattoos, bull rings. These are creative types, and I actually really love it. And you can see here, I won't read through all of it, but we have a very portfolio and assessment-based process on the creative side because we have a service delivery standard for our customers. And we actually do a timed assessment that is replicating what the job is going to be when they actually arrive. On the other side of it, the corporate side, it's more traditional. We do assessment, case study. We always pay for those too. I feel like you kind of blend into idea farming if you ask somebody to do 5, 10+ hours of an unpaid assessment. That is a really powerful thing in the candidate experience, is to compensate in some way for assessments. But ultimately, we get to a point where, and obviously that's the picture that's not a real person. It's actually kind of nightmare-inducing. But at the end of the day, we hire about 1% of our creative applications. So I also want to acknowledge that I have a wealth of riches here. I work for a design company, which means I get design as part of this. And so one of the goals today is to help you all understand how you might be able to leverage your own in-house marketing team for design assets. How many people here are, actually I can't even hardly see, how many people have a recruitment marketing standalone function? Okay, so 5, 6, okay. How many are recruiters or talent leaders that are recruitment marketing and recruiting? Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more of those. Okay, cool. I think when we talk about, well, actually, let me first give you a design lesson. When you build a slide deck in Google Drive and then you convert it to PowerPoint, it does change the size. So that's a hanging S there. If our creative director saw that, he would be grumpy. But anyway, we talk about the candidate experience a lot. I don't know that we talk about the hiring manager experience as much as we should. It's our job, first and foremost, as in-house TA leaders, or even if you're a third-party agency, you're representing a company that is paying your bills or your salary. And so I always preface this by saying the business is one and the candidate is 1A. You can do both really, really well. These 3 pillars here are something that makes me as a TA leader really difficult to work with sometimes. Because I will never ever sacrifice, for any reason, the experience, the standard, or the process. Every time I've done that, or I've circumvented a process, it hasn't really worked out. So a lot of hiring managers will be like, I just know, that's the right one. I say, well, they haven't even done their last interview yet. Let's not skip it. Let's not go with your gut on this. Let's actually run them through a fair process that we're running everyone through. The standard is where, my philosophy is always competency-based hiring. We are ultimately trying to set a standard that has a competency-based model that we can meet and exceed with every hire. When I was a college soccer coach, the goal was always to out-recruit your last class. And ultimately, you get a stack of 4 classes that are really good, and you'll hopefully have a really good team. So every time you hire someone, that should ideally set a new standard. And then the process, consistent, competency-based, thorough, unbiased, and fair, ideally. And then we think about create every day for them. This is the candidate experience. I'm really trying to retrain my mind and stop calling it a hiring process, because I think that sounds really, really strange. It is truly an experience, but my philosophy is that your job post, all the way through to your employee onboarding, which I'm going to show you what we do, should be aligned, okay? I kind of regret not asking one of the speakers, what does that say about your company culture if your entire process is automated by AI? Because in my opinion, they should match. So ideally, your experience is to create brand advocates. This is not a data point that anyone talks about, but how many referrals are you getting from rejected candidates? To me, that's a signal of a really good process. We've hired a few people this year, one of which was a referral from a rejected candidate because they had a good experience, and they still held it in high regard. I think it was Laszlo Bock from Google in his book said that 95+% of Google candidates that don't get hired still recommend working at Google. Today, if you want to be an outlier, you give feedback, you be honest, transparent, and you be upfront with everybody. Right? It should be the opposite, right? But this is how you can actually be an outlier in the marketplace, being transparent. But also, if you have a second place candidate that's really good, a really good addition to your candidate experience is to refer them to someone else. And this is where LinkedIn becomes really powerful because it's probably the best multiplication tool for visibility out there in terms of social media, that I can see a post from someone else that I don't know, but it's liked by someone I do, that says they're hiring a TA partner in Denver. And I can say, hey, I just saw this, I don't know you, but I have somebody that might help. And in the process, no surprises, no changes. My philosophy is, in that first initial point of contact, we outline the whole process, and we do everything in our power not to change it. All right, so this is where this idea of adding moments of creativity into your hiring process is really important to me. And so I put 3 different brands up here to represent 3 different stages. And the WWMD is what would marketing do? A creative hiring experience or process doesn't have to be super flashy. You actually don't need a ton of creative design work the way that we have. What you need are 3 key elements here that are memorable and consistent. So I'll ask the crowd, does anybody have an opinion of liquid death that they want to share? Like, what do you think of when you see liquid death?
It's good but overpriced.
It's what?
It's good but overpriced.
Okay, what about the brand?
It's intriguing.
Yeah.
I think it's off-putting.
Okay. Okay.
It's screaming me like, here's what it is, and explain why.
Yeah, but you see it everywhere, right? Yeah. This company disrupted water, and they're worth billions. Billions. And they're leaning into the fact that everybody's drinking other brands out of plastic. They put it in a freaking can, and now they've really leaned into that. If you watch some of their ads, they're super captivating. They paid an opera singer to sing the hate comments that they get on social media. So when I think of liquid death, I think of disruptive, I think of fun, I think of kind of quirky, kind of edgy, and I think that's pretty cool. So their job ad, or your job ad, is essentially your landing page. And your outreach is your drip campaign. So I'd be really intrigued to work at Liquid Death because I know their consumer brand, and I know how they market themselves. Now, it may not be for everybody, but it's clearly working, they're clearly growing, and they're everywhere now. And they disrupted something that, if you had asked me 6, 7 years ago, can someone disrupt water? I'd say, like, no, there's no way. Like, it's water. It's just water. If you take anything from today, please take something from this middle section here. Okay? Obviously, that's Disney. Who's been to Disney? Disney anywhere in the world. Okay? You go to Disney, you wait in line for hours. I don't have kids, but there's kids screaming everywhere. I waited 3 hours to ride that Cars ride, and it was, 40 seconds? You eat yellow food, so corn dogs, French fries, and you spend a shitload of money, and what do? You get home, you say, I love Disney. I love Disney. Like, objectively, that doesn't make any sense. But what Disney does, and you can read this in a book called Be Our Guest, it's actually their like guide to customer service, is that you can ask anybody at Disney for anything at any time, and they will help you. Try it. Go ask the guy in the Goofy costume. He may not talk, but he'll pull someone over that will help guide you to whatever you need to do. That's actually true. I encourage you to test that out next time, when in whatever Disney you're at. So they operate with this thing called surprise and delight. This is something that is absolutely free for everyone here to do. Surprise and delight is taking the extra step to add a thoughtful gesture, an unexpected moment that leaves a lasting impression. In the last panel, they talked about the idea of basically analog contact now. So all of a sudden, the phone is becoming unique. You get somebody on the phone, you can feel their voice, their inflection, their energy, their excitement. That could be a really good opportunity for a surprise and delight moment. Give them feedback. Get back to them quickly. Tell them what the hiring manager might have said that can excite them. So you're sort of building this arousal and interest level as you go through a hiring process. And then okay, DoubleTree. What happens when you walk into a DoubleTree? Exactly. It's a cookie. It's cookie. Probably, it's not healthy for you. It probably costs them 10 cents to get, and everybody loves it. It's just something that you recognize when you go to a DoubleTree. So in the onboarding, small signature moment, okay? And this can also be at the time of offer. For me, I give the actual numerical figures at the very end, because the first few minutes of our conversation is telling them the feedback and why we want to hire them. So again, you're sort of building to that crescendo of the offer. And then when they're actually here in onboarding, if you just say hey, here is a couple pages in a Google Doc to read, after you've put them through this really creative, fun process, you've really missed the opportunity. Okay, because they have changed the trajectory of their lives in some ways to join your company. So onboarding is not where recruiting ends. I know functionally for some of us it actually does, but I think that the role of talent acquisition is going to blend, especially as economic conditions mean that teams are going to condense or remain flat, that talent is going to become talent, from acquisition to onboarding to performance to compensation. That is exactly what's happening in my role, because we haven't hired anybody in a few months. All right, so I'm trying to lean into that. This is a very wordy slide. It's not what you're supposed to do in design, but there are sort of pillars of the little things that you can do functionally inside of every stage. Make it a story, not a list. Be transparent. Again, that's something that will actually make you very unique. All these slides will be available to you. Hit me up, I'll send them to you. And humanize everybody. All right, I'm going to go anti-AI here, and I'm going to say humanize everybody. And I'll show you a couple examples of how we do that. Creative icebreakers, I'll walk you through some examples of those in a couple minutes, but unexpected questions to assess curiosity and resourcefulness. All right, I'm actually going to, I have some examples here. An experience, not an interrogation. My big thing is ask them questions that will showcase what they may face in the actual job itself. All right, and I'll add this. Part of my role and our role is ensuring hiring manager success. So I'm helping them with questions. I can use AI for that, but I'm helping them with questions that will extract the answers that will hopefully satisfy competencies of the role. Like I said, personalized offer presentations. I hope nobody just sends an offer. I hope that there's a touch point there somewhere. Because I feel like it is an opportunity to really get them excited and make the offer feel exclusive. Make it feel exclusive. You beat out X number of candidates. I like to win. So if you tell me I got first place out of 1,000, that feels pretty awesome. Comp package comes last because it's an opportunity to build up that excitement. When you get to the onboarding phase, you can gamify it. We use Slack for automated triggers of like, hey, reach out to Alyssa, ask her about her favorite concert. Reach out to Joe, ask him about his favorite movie, and that starts a dialogue with people that you don't typically work with. All right, that's very easy to do inside of Slack. There are even tools that you can integrate into Slack that will do that. And assign a welcome buddy, somebody that's been there for a minute, knows who to ask when there's a benefits issue, a tech issue, something like that. But nearly 80% of candidates say that their overall candidate experience is an indicator of how they'll be treated as employees. So again, if you're automating the entire front end, are you automating and AIing everything when they're actually an employee? This can make for a pretty awkward water cooler conversation, I think. This could be an entire presentation on its own, but if you are a lean recruiting team or you don't have access to a recruitment marketing engine, recast campaigns as candidate magnets. Meaning, it's actually quite easy to take this and swap these people out for the hiring manager and say, now hiring senior software engineer, remote senior software engineer. It's not that hard to do. You can do it inside of Canva, you can do it inside Adobe, you can use a fractional service like Edie was talking about, you can use a marketplace, or you can use your in-house team. If you have an in-house marketing team, I would almost guarantee that they have some sort of tool that manages the influx of design requests. Get up in that if you can. Get in there. Because they're going to want your recruitment branding to be as similar as theirs. So some of you have that luxury. But all these things are opportunities to recast as recruitment marketing. Marketing will do all the work for you. And I'm going to show you a really cool video here in a minute that will actually showcase that. So before we click into this video, I do want to talk about the careers page. So the next video it's just a slide of what our careers page is and some key points that we find to be really important. We do talk about our diversity, the fact that we're a global company, we have creatives all over the world, core values are really critical to us. We actually measure in your performance management alignment to core values. So we're starting that conversation at the front end. What we offer, money, benefits, things like that. Real quotes from real people, awards and recognition. So you can go ahead and play that first video here. So you'll see it's just a slow roll. This took our design team like a couple days to update. These are real people, actual real people. Talk about our employee resource groups. We call them Pickle resource groups. Our core values, things like that. We actually have a scrolling. Our people are a big deal. I know, like sometimes like the pickle stuff is overwhelming. I get it. I get it. But it is where we're at. Okay. The benefits, all these types of things. What's also really cool about our careers page is that's actually embedded inside of the page of. That's right. It's embedded in the actual website. So you can go from the careers page directly to the product, a case study, a demo, things like that. Before we start this next video, I'll say that I am big on using automations and redirects. And for those of you who don't know, in your ATS, like for me, I use Greenhouse. It's a Kanban board, so you can literally drag a card across the horizontal line. Each time you do that, you have the opportunity to redirect, send an automated email or text to a candidate. So if they're a product-focused candidate, every time you move them in a stage, and it doesn't have to be like recruiter screen to hiring manager screen. If you look at our stages, it's recruiter screen completed, recruiter screen completed 1, recruiter screen completed 2, just for example. And every time we move somebody over, we're sending them something automatically through our ATS that will link to a new product announcement. Like we're getting ready to white label our product. If it's a product person, they're gonna say, oh, that's pretty cool. I get to build that. Like it becomes more tangible. And it also becomes like a nurture campaign that is, again, increasing or maintaining that interest level in your company, hopefully. All right, and if you disposition them, they fall out of that board and they don't get it. The other thing too, when you do disposition them, it's an opportunity to send them something more than just a rejection. That is another presentation altogether. A brief, engaging, welcoming message, like Joel earlier talked about using video as a candidate, like using video to actually introduce a hiring manager is really cool. Meet the team section. I think this is really cool. You have the opportunity to actually tell the candidates what the next interview is going to be about. But when you apply to Design Pickle, you're automatically met with this. And it's 2 minutes. I'll just let it run through. You guys can go ahead and play it. This is automatically sent.
Design Pickle. Let's go. Yeah, you know that I got what it takes. It's time for me to level up. Yeah, and if you're looking for the best, you know that you come into us. Level up, what we bring to the table ain't regular. If you need a new design, we can set it up. Put your trust in the team, yeah, we coming up. Yeah, if you in a pickle and need a design, it's fine. Just cut a Design Pickle. Take what's in your mind and put it in motion. Maybe we need to remind people. Yeah, that we got the best. All of the struggles, we put them to rest. Bring your ideas and we put them to rest. You know, we got what it takes. We know what to make to help you scale and level up. So really just roll with us. DP never giving up. We got a team that you can trust, help you rise to the top. That's DP. Level up, no, we never gonna stop. That's DP. We the ones setting trends, yeah, whenever we drop. That's DP. Designs on the man, tell me who you know. That's DP. Look, you need to scale and we got the plan, you know we doing it the right way. We made designs that you see on the billboard when you cruise on the highway. Design Pickle gonna take you to the top, just give us the flow like an elevator. Just give us the wheel and give us your trust, I promise that we gonna elevate you. Yeah, that we got the best. All of the struggles, we put them to rest. Bring your ideas and we put them to rest. You know, we got what it takes, we know what to make to help you scale and level up. So really just roll with us. DP never giving up. We got a team that you can trust, help you rise to the top. That's DP. Level up, no, we never gonna stop. That's DP. We the ones setting trends, yeah, whenever we drop. That's DP. Designs on the man, tell me who you know. That's DP. We got a team that you can trust, help you rise to the top. That's DP. Level up, no, we never gonna stop. That's DP. We the ones setting trends, yeah, whenever we drop. That's DP. Designs on the man, tell me who you know. That's DP. Let's go.
The amount of people that asked me if I sang that is very high, but actually, the truth is, sorry. It's not sliding for me. But while we're sorting that out, over 90% of candidates reference that video unsolicited as, wow, that was really cool. I say, well, just so you all know here, that was a marketing asset that, like the whole campaign of make work for you is actually a marketing campaign of, hey, let Design Pickle make your work easier for you. If you're in a creative environment, we're gonna make it easy for you. So what I did was I saw that and I said, hey, video friend, do you think you could cut out some of the salesy stuff, throw in our core values, and then let's add some video from some live events that we've done? He came back to me in 6 hours with that. And I've had that for 2 years. And it is probably one of the most impactful things we've done that was actually super easy to do. And I let marketing's budget hire out that guy. That's not me. That's definitely not me. I let them hire that out. So when you get that, you're like, oh, dang, that's kind of cool. Now this is for us, you know, throwing out a rap video about pickles and core values, and like you probably didn't notice or you probably did notice rather, there's a 6'5" guy in a pickle suit that put a bikini on over it, right? That's actually mimicking a Hardee's ad, a Carl's Jr. ad, because we try to stay relevant with that stuff. But you probably didn't think that you were gonna see a pickle suited guy in a bikini today. And you probably won't see one at the pool. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's exciting. You know, maybe gets people hyped up a little bit, and it gives us a chance to showcase not only it's a little bit about our culture and our core values, but we made that. We made that ourselves. Like our video editing team, which we also offer as a service, made that for us. All right, so we're gonna walk through some stages here of actually how you can apply some moments of surprise and delight and creativity in the hiring process. And I've got the new school and the old school there. I won't read them all, but some of them are like basically asking the same question in a much more creative way. Screen accordingly, but make it memorable. Give candidates something they didn't know. They leave knowing something they didn't before the conversation, but avoid creative pitfalls. And I've talked about this before. This is where being in a creative fun, we got a hip hop video in the top of funnel is like, oh my gosh, these people are so cool. This is where I take the opportunity to say, we're for profit, we want to win, we performance manage, this is the expectation of your first 90 days. We're gonna drip that throughout the entire process. Because if we just leave it as like, we're fun and cool and quirky and whatever, and you can work remote and you can have your tattoos and blue hair, we're not talking about what the actual business is trying to accomplish, what we're hiring them to solve for. So I've actually found that the more direct you are about the expectation that you're coming here to do something and perform, and we want to win together, people love that, especially technical roles. They want to know what they're building. They may not care about the video, they want to know what they're building. This is like my favorite question ever, is if your creativity had a soundtrack, what song would be blasting right now? You learn a lot about people, and you also can really farm cool music ideas too. I got that idea from my mom. We were at a Diamondbacks game. She asked me what my walkout song would be, and I just retrofitted it to Design Pickle. You know, they always have a walkout song, right? I love it when my initial interview at a company feels like I'm talking to a drone, said no one ever. There might be other speakers here that might like disagree with that, but I don't really care, because it's us. So now we're talking mid-funnel moments. We're in the stage where we're getting somebody in front of a hiring manager. So we're trying to prep candidates with each interviewer's focus areas. You're not giving them anything you wouldn't give to anybody else. But if you can say, when this person is going to interview you, it's going to be more technical focused. It's going to be more situational judgment questions versus just kind of letting them go in blind. Then you feel like then they feel like they're building an allyship with you, which is going to mimic what they hope to have inside of the actual company. We're all allies. We're all fighting the same battle. We're in the same jersey. Start strong. Hiring managers should always start, in my opinion, like what's keeping them engaged in the process. There are actually interview intelligence tools that will track the sentiment of this, but it's a human-to-human question. And then hiring manager responsibilities of being candid. This is why I say we're trying to talk people out of the job. I actually don't mean that literally. But we want to be very clear about what life is like here, what the pain points are. Because when you hear a hiring manager talk in a professional way about what the pain points are and what this job is trying to solve, the candidate then thinks, that's me. Here's how I'm going to tell you how I'm going to solve for X. And then they're getting excited about it. And then for us, like this is actually my hiring manager sheet. So this gets sent to people when I'm the hiring manager, which I also want to throw in. I am the hiring manager that I hate to work with. Like I am the worst hiring manager, and I'm the head of hiring because I've seen it so much, and I've seen so much good and bad. But people love this because you're basically infusing that old psychology tactic of proximity, similarity, and familiarity. Oh my gosh, I also love Incubus. Maybe they like Incubus. I don't know, it's my favorite band. Maybe they did an Iron Man. Maybe they like dogs. You're looking for ways you can align familiarity between a hiring manager and a candidate. And again, it's building that allyship. This is my favorite slide here because I call them disguised competencies. These are questions, I won't read them all, but ways that you can ask questions that are focused on that top bolded text that don't feel like the question, how many golf balls can you fit in an airplane? That's like not a real question. So, I mean, I guess it's a real question, but I don't like those questions. Or what would a penguin say if it walked into the room with a sombrero? Like, what the hell is that? Like, that is not anything. Those are kitschy, and those are kind of trendy, and you heard that maybe an enterprise company did it once. Take something that's going to tell you, if you could go back and give yourself career advice 5 years ago, what would it be? All right, they're going to start to think this company is thinking about questions and asking them in ways that are creative, which is going to hopefully imitate the types of challenges that I'll face and can solve when I'm in the role. My favorite question of all is, what is something recent that you've learned that you've applied to your life or profession? Most candidates don't know that there's one wrong answer for me, and it's I haven't learned anything recently. So you're looking at curiosity as a competency there, which if you look at data, there's books written on this, that curiosity is one of the #1 predictors of success with a new hire or an employee. Disagree and commit. It's okay to disagree. You know, if you want everybody to like you, go sell ice cream. It's okay to disagree. So we want to get ahead of that. It's okay to have a conversation where you disagree with somebody. I'm going to move through these next few pretty quick here, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview of our first 2 weeks of onboarding and how we run it. We've gotten really good feedback on it, but we train every new employee as a customer success rep their first week. We call it the CS internship, but what they're doing is they're building customer empathy, they're understanding the design process from our creative side, and they're understanding the support side, which any company that has customer support people, that is one of the most thankless jobs in the world. And to have empathy with those employees is as critical as having empathy with your customers, in my opinion. We're creating a unified perspective, and we're focusing on cross-team collaboration. So what happens when a customer writes in and they're frustrated, or they have a billing question? All right, so it's kind of tracking back to that whole Disney thing of everybody sort of knows how to help another person out in the business. Week 1.5, gamifying the first week, building some active learning modules, you know, like some interactions and things like that, triggers that will say, hey, you know, reach out to so-and-so. I talked about that a few minutes ago. And then assigning a welcome buddy, check in early and often, over 30 days. Quality hire, you've probably seen it, is like becoming the hot new metric. Okay, check in early, check in often on both sides, the hiring manager and the person in the role. It's going to tell you a lot about what's actually going on behind the curtain. And don't just ask would you or would you not rehire this person? Okay, my encouragement is to go a little bit deeper than that. And I will actually share out our entire quality hire process. It's like 15 questions across 4 different phases of the life cycle. And in week 2, this is an opportunity. I realize that this is not feasible for everybody. Like if you work at you know, a FANG company, the CEO is probably not going to meet with every new hire. We can do it in groups though too, but every employee watches a sales demo, either live or via Gong. They meet with every functional leader, like we have 6, so that's feasible for us. Attends every team meeting. We run on 90 EOS. If you're familiar with EOS, everybody has a meeting each week or every other week called an L10, where you just fly on the wall. You're just learning how people speak. And you're kind of seeing who's the driver and who's working on what. And then meet with the CEO. That's something that goes a really long way. I'm going to say something that people are like, they look at me sideways. These are my metrics. Because I will bet money that if you ask your VP of sales, does he really care that the hire took 1 week longer if that new hire in sales hit a multiple on their quota? I would bet money he doesn't care, or she doesn't care, or they don't care. So these are my metrics. I'm tracking every single TA metric to a business case. All right, so when we started infusing these things, this idea of create every day, 2 years ago into our process, this is what our data looks like, because it has a direct line from my team to company performance. So over the last 24 months, 95% acceptance rate. I'm not saying that as a flex, I'm just saying that as literal fact. Customer retention has improved because we've increased, or we've maintained or increased the hiring standard for our designers who are delivering for our clients. We're retaining our employees 10 years longer. Delivery, our product team is shipping faster. Feels good to win. And then profitability. More money in the jar means more psychological safety for all of your employees. Let's see here. So for me, time to fill, time to hire, you name it, whatever, it's important. I report on it, but I don't really care about it because as long as these things are happening, generally people are going to be really happy. So that's my time. Thank you everybody for being in here instead of not going to the pool.
Thank you, Cailean, so much. Hey, do we have one quick question for him? Anybody? Do we have something? We have a virtual one? Go ahead, Kevin.
Someone asked, to create an ideal hiring process, how many touch points do you recommend?
Ooh, like to quantify it? I don't think there is an ideal number. I mean, I think it's probably a personalized touch at every stage of your hiring process, like your loop. Like, so recruiter screen, hiring manager, assess, like on both sides of that is an opportunity to have like a personalized touch point. That's about all I can say about that. But I don't have a numerical value because some of our processes are different role to role.
No worries. One more question?
Okay, so this is a really random question, but have you ever seen the video, Give 'em the Pickle?
What's that?
Have you ever seen the video, Give 'em the Pickle?
Give them to the pickle?
Give them the pickle.
Give them a pickle? No.
Okay, you have to go on YouTube and watch it, but it's about a guy who, that's the phrase that he uses with his team about going the extra mile for people. So highly recommend you watch
Okay,
it.
cool.
I think you'd like it.
Cool.
And I just want, how can I get a pickle suit? That's what I want to know.
We have a bunch of them. We actually have a bunch of them in our office.
I want a pickle suit.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah, real quick.
Sure.
And then we got to shift into that. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, does all your hiring managers are aligned with your vision in this creative process from the very beginning, or did you have to change some of their perspective? Because I imagine not everyone's familiar with this, I would say, rather new way and process.
Most of the hiring managers that I've hired have gone through the process with me. Right? Like, so I have that luxury that most of them have gone through it, so they know when they become a hiring manager, it's going to replicate what they went through. But there are edge cases that I'm happy to talk to you about off stage.
Okay.
All right, let's get Cailean another hand. Thank you, sir.